Alright, and here we are on the play with our final match. And we have a great hand, and we have another hand where Snapcaster doesn't really do all that much, but backup. Good backup. And we just beat down on a Swift Spear and draw a Lightning Bolt. So here, ideally we set up for lethal next turn with Tamir Battle Rage, Mutagenic Growth, and miscellaneous other things. We draw a Thing in the Ice, which is basically backup creature if the Swift Spear dies. We don't really need another Tamir Battle Rage, and the Lightning Bolt is kind of iffy. I decided to put it on top. I'm not really sure what I'm up against. I think in retrospect I probably should have put it on bottom against a Watery Grave, since Lightning Bolt isn't great against whatever Watery Grave is. And I could use another land for Snapcaster. Assuming the Swift Spear dies, we're probably not going to need the Lightning Bolt for a while. And I just decided to bolt face to do some extra damage in right now. Again, I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have saved the Lightning Bolt for Thing in the Ice, I think. Here we get completely brutalized by collective brutality on 3 modes. So I consider casting Mutagenic Growth to save my Swift Spear, but I think it's just better to focus on Thing in the Ice now. Let my opponent take one of these, drop down Thing in the Ice, and work on flipping it. And because if I save the Monastery Swift Spear, I'm going to have neither of these in hand. So we're low on spells, but have some threats left. So I want to focus on the threats now. And the Lightning Bolt's not terrible, since it's going to help flip Thing in the Ice. And flipping Thing in the Ice is very appealing at this point. And Metamorphosis is just about the best draw. That, it, and Gitaxian Probe are exactly what we want, because they remove a counter off Thing in the Ice and draw us a card. Also, Serum Visions is pretty much exactly what we want. And we see a Bolt and a land, and this time we just go ahead and put them both on the bottom. Both are okay to draw, but we don't really need either of them. And also our opponent is nearly dead, which is an argument for putting the Bolt on top, which I again should have done. This was actually my first game with the deck, so. And missed lethal because of putting Bolt on the bottom, but we're still in a good spot. If we draw a land with Snapcaster, it's lethal, and we have serious lethalness on the board. So we're up against an interesting tokens deck with Bitter Blossom and Secure the Waste, which we don't really see all that often. So Thing in the Ice is going to be great. I think we probably want to make our own tokens. Could even attempt to Blood Moon them, since they're 3 colors. And Surgical Extraction would be good against Lingering Souls, and Forked Bolt would be great against early tokens. And then I think that's pretty much all we want. As for siding out, I think we'd look here as we usually do. And for this matchup, I'd actually be fine going a bit slower, removing some of the combo elements on the draw. And Vapor Snag, not going to be great against tokens. Probably want all the Kiln Fiends and all the Tamir Battle Rages just because they're so powerful. But I think probably getting rid of some of the pump, keeping some of the Snapcasters to play a bit more of a resilient game is what I would want to do here. So keep the card draw, keep the keep all the major threats in. and then just shave off a bit of the pump, a bit of the protection, a little bit of the card draw for Young Pyromancer, and some removal. And actually, the Blood Moon probably isn't even worth it on the draw either. So do like that against this tokens deck. And then we have a perfectly fine hand. Young Pyromancer might do some good work. And we actually have 3 excellent 2-drops to choose from next turn. Here we obviously just develop the Swift Spear, and our opponent's gonna be able to snag Serum Visions and kill the Swift Spear, which we're fine. With that, we'd rather just keep the mutagenic growth. Here I decide to Pyromancer, and I like that. It works best with mutagenic growth, I think, and then it's not going to work well with Thing in the Ice, which we're pretty far away from flipping, so I'd rather just develop a bit of pressure, see if my opponent can deal with it, and then consider developing Thing in the Ice. Alright, so basically unexciting beatdown from a 2-1 at the moment. But we're going to be able to refill and get some tokens, and obviously we want more Serum Visions. That's exactly what we want. Here our opponent paths us, and we could consider not searching, since we know we have Serum Visions on top. And I actually did decide to search, but in retrospect I kind of like just leaving the Serum Visions on top. That's actually a little known interaction. You don't have to search with Path to Exile, and there, in retrospect, I would not have searched, so that was a little bit of a misplay, because I don't actually need this 4 mana that much. And it turned out to be a good decision because my opponent played Chalice of the Void, so clearly that's what I was playing around, even though I have not cast Jataxian Probe or seen Chalice of the Void. But so expertly played around it and immediately drew a great 2-drop. That's exactly what we want. So now we're starting to get into the Thing in the Ice plan. We're still going to pressure with Kiln Fiend, but realistically we're expecting to win this game by flipping Thing in the Ice, which of course still remove counters, even though Chalice of the Void counters the spells. But we can, in the meantime, we can also continue getting in with Kiln Fiend, which might just be lethal depending on how the opponent blocks here. And we go ahead and Mutagenic Growth, get it countered. Of course, it's still going to trigger all of our things. And then Tamir Battle Rage, and that is exactly lethal. So we were expecting to win through Thing in the Ices, but our opponent didn't actually have a way to deal with Kiln Fiend, and we just killed them. Chalice of the Void is a great card against the deck because we have plenty of 1-drops, but not as good as you might think, since it still allows us to get value from our 1-drops even if they're being countered.